The first day your wealthy big sister brought you home, you happened to run into second sister and her green tea boyfriend. They were begging Grandpa for his blessing, but just as they were hugging and crying their lungs out, and Grandpa was about to cave out of pity, the family suddenly heard your inner thoughts. Oh, my silly second sister, he really hasn't made you transfer a single cent to him, but he's been indirectly leeching off you. Whenever he wants to buy something, he posts it on his moments and makes it visible only to you. Poor naive second sister is still completely in the dark. Every time, she has to find all sorts of excuses just to naturally gift it to him. Second sister is great in every way, except she forgot to put any points into her IQ when she was reincarnated. You treat him as your irreplaceable first love, but he just sees you as a stand-in. You're just a walking ATM. Once the Dragon King makes his grand return, you'll be the first one sacrificed. Second sister's pupils dilated in shock. What did he mean by sacrificed? What did he mean by stand-in? Grandpa was horrified. What on earth is going on? Could this be the kid's inner voice? He shifted his gaze, trying to observe the reactions of the people around him. Then he locked eyes right with Big Sister. She was his most favorite eldest granddaughter. The grandfather and granddaughter shared a telepathic understanding. She subtly nodded at the old man. It was obvious she had come to the same conclusion. The two decided to hold their ground for now and see how things played out. You were completely unaware that in just a few short minutes, undercurrents were already surging through the room. You noticed your cheap second sister staring at you, but you didn't pay it any mind. You just figured she was looking because she hadn't seen you before. Deep down, you felt incredibly sorry for her. Second sister seems so glamorous, but she's actually just a pawn in some other couple's little game. Jibojin only came looking for her this time, purely because he got into a fight with his real girlfriend. He just wants to use second sister to make her jealous, and since she's pretty, rich, and gullible, he can also get some emotional comfort on the side. The moment they get back together, you'll be the first one he kicks to the curb. Hearing this, second sister's emotions were completely short-circuiting. She took a deep breath. If it was just about money, that wouldn't be a big deal. Just as she was about to lash out at Jibojin, he stepped in front of the old man. He said solemnly, "No matter what, Bojin saved my life. You could say I wouldn't be here today without him. Grandpa, isn't that more important than anything else?" Grandpa scoffed. "Wake up, the Qing dynasty is over. Pledging your life and marriage to repay a debt isn't trendy anymore." Before the old man could even start his mockery, that unfiltered voice echoed out again. "Saved her life? Poofed. When did Jibojin ever save my cheap second sister's life?" Grandpa's motion to stand up paused. The old fox sensed there was more to the story. He feigned nonchalance and asked, "Are you talking about that shipwreck in college, when you were stranded on that deserted island?" Even though second sister was hopelessly love-struck, she realized, right then, exactly what the old man was plotting. That's right, that shipwreck. You quickly searched for the keywords in your memory. Suddenly, it clicked. "I remember now. My second sister is way too pitiful. She's seriously so pathetic." Second sister thought to herself, "How am I pitiful again? Elaborate on that right now." Second sister probably still doesn't know, back during that shipwreck, Jibojin wasn't the one who pulled her onto the island at all. He was too busy saving his own skin. It was a dolphin that nudged you ashore. Second sister's mind was blown. Even if that's true, Jibojin still took care of me for a whole day and night. He even covered me with a straw mat to keep me warm. Your inner roast delivered a precise critical hit. As for taking care of you, that's pure bullshit. Wrapping you in a straw mat wasn't to keep you warm. He was just terrified you'd die and start rotting and stinking and spread some disease. That whole day and night, second sister survived purely on her own sheer willpower. Jibojin just happened to walk by when you woke up, and seeing you weren't dead, he posed as your savior. And to think second sister actually bought it. After being rescued, not only did she treat him like her true love, she also threw heaps of money at him. Honestly, if she really wanted to repay her savior, she should have donated to the Marine Conservation Society. The hall instantly fell dead, silent. Although Jibojin didn't know why the Chen family had suddenly changed their attitude, it couldn't be a bad thing for him. "Jing, your family isn't against us being together. This is wonderful. I just suddenly remembered something. Back when I fell into the sea, I think I saw a dolphin. Bojin, do you remember anything about that?" Second sister suddenly asked out of nowhere. Caught completely off guard, Jibojin's heart skipped a massive beat. Why is she suddenly remembering things? You must be remembering it wrong. I don't recall anything like that. Jibojin forced himself to stay calm, but the panic he just showed already spoke volumes. Second sister furrowed her brows deeply, her voice suddenly turning ice cold. "Jibojin, why are you lying? Just now, when we brought it up, I remembered everything. That whole day and night, I was lying on that beach all by myself. You never saved me." Jibojin was horrified. Holy crap, thank the heavens. What suddenly activated second sister's IQ? You let out a sharp, piercing cheer in your mind, almost making second sister break character. Jibojin couldn't squeeze out a single word for a long time. That pretty much gave her the answer. The last shred of hope in her heart shattered. Second sister waved her hand in disappointment. "Just go. From now on, we go our separate ways. Don't ever look for me again." Jibojin's face flushed bright red. He never imagined that his lies, would be exposed so abruptly. Under the meaningful glares of the Chen family, his mental state completely collapsed. He scrambled away in a panic. Watching his retreating back, second sister hung her head. Second sister looks really sad. Don't be sad. Hearing this comforting inner voice, second sister felt inexplicably touched. She looked at you. So this is the newly brought back little brother. Even though he just ruthlessly stabbed her in the heart, as the saying goes, even if you fail 99 times, you have to get up and try one more time just to make it an even 100. Yeah, I should still string him up and beat him. Grandpa closed his eyes. Don't curl up, my damn mouth. Second sister almost passed out from anger. Grandpa let out a light cough. She was his second granddaughter, after all. If she actually died of anger, his old bones would have to collect her body. You must be Chen Fan. Come here. Finally being cued, you remembered you were here to acknowledge your family. You trotted over like a good boy. That's me. Hello, Grandpa. Hello. Grandpa gave a reserved nod. Chen Yingshen had dominated the business world for years. He was always ruthless and a man of few words. He never expected to suddenly have a grandson pop out of nowhere in his old age. It left him completely clueless on how to interact with you. However, according to what he Baidu'd earlier, first, he had to provide enough money to prevent you from bowing down for a few measly bucks in the future. Thinking this, Grandpa tapped his cane. He never liked beating around the bush, so he cut straight to the chase. First of all, welcome back to the Chen family. Secondly, since you're back, there are some rules you'll need to follow. Rule number 1. You felt like you weren't coming home, but returning to a classroom. Is Grandpa sure he's an entrepreneur and not a teacher? Or do all leaders talk with this kind of tone? Oh no. When I enter society later, won't I just fall asleep in meeting rooms? So boring. Hearing this, Grandpa lifted his eyelids and lazily glanced at you, sitting there all prim and proper. He remained unmoved, continuing to recite the family rules he had prepared. But what he didn't know was, whenever someone has too much free time, they'll do the most ridiculous things. Just like right now. You were so bored, you started looking Grandpa up and down. Gradually, your gaze landed on the back of Grandpa's left hand. There was a healed scar right there. Some people act all serious when they get old, but back in their youth, they were actually warriors charging forward for love. The moment these words dropped, big sister and second sister, who were planning to dodge the old man's lecture and were about to activate their stealth skills, elegantly pulled their raised feet back. You hadn't noticed Grandpa glaring at you yet, completely focused on slacking off. Grandpa came from a rural village. He and Grandma were childhood sweethearts. Once, on Grandma's birthday, she was harvesting rice in the paddy fields. When Grandpa found out, to be romantic, he picked a bunch of beautiful flowers for her, wrapped them up, and brought them over. But who would have thought? I'm giving you 5 million in pocket money as a welcome gift. Spend it however you like. Grandpa suddenly raised his voice. Hearing this staggering number, your entire body morphed into the shape of a dollar sign. Grandpa, you're not just my biological grandpa. You are my god. Grandpa looked as steady as a mountain on the outside, but inside, he was sweating bullets. That was close. Just a little bit more, and this brat would have blurted it all out. Seeing this from a distance, big sister and second sister were absolutely heartbroken. What happened next? Keep telling the story. Isn't it just a measly 5 million? He acts like they couldn't afford to pay that. To think you'd be swayed by such a small amount of money. It really ruffled their feathers. This is just unacceptable. We definitely need to take you out to see the world. Having successfully used 5 million to nip your inner monologue in the bud, Grandpa decided to find something for you to do so you wouldn't have free time to dig up his gossip. Honestly, Grandpa was really baffled. Where on earth did you get your intel? How could you know about such ancient history? Your mouth really made him love and hate you at the same time. Putting that matter aside for now, based on what he searched on Baidu, Grandpa had already prepared a child-rearing guide, written down in his little notebook. According to rule number 2 in the manual, once the money is in place, it's time to take the kid out to meet all kinds of high-quality beauties. It's best to let him see all types, so that in the future, he won't get snatched up by some random gold digger, hopping out from nowhere. Today happened to be the perfect opportunity. Grandpa set his sights on his most reliable eldest granddaughter. He spoke up. You're heading back to the company this afternoon, right? Take your little brother with you. Big sister, who was already planning to take you out to see the world, naturally had no objections. She looked at you. Do you want to stay here, or come to the company with me? You guys are really cooking up my schedule, arranging my life so perfectly. But whatever. For the sake of 5 million, I'm just a brick. I'll go wherever I'm needed. Here comes the little flying stick. You nodded obediently at Big Sister. Big Sister couldn't help but glance at you a few more times. Is this kid seriously not a little schizophrenic? Second, Sister had to stay behind to face the old man's judgment, so she was destined not to tag along. Earlier, I saw you staring at Grandpa's hand. Is there something wrong with it? Before leaving, Big Sister asked, pretending to be casual. You blinked your big eyes. Nope, I just saw a scar on Grandpa's hand and got a little curious. Speaking of which, where was I? Oh, right. Grandpa originally wanted to give her flowers. He was holding the flowers, romantically confessing to Grandma, but who would have thought, just as they were about to share a romantic embrace, Grandpa accidentally stepped in chicken poop. His foot slipped, and he rolled all the way down the hill right into the cowshed. He face planted straight into the mud and even scratched his hand. She swore she had used every ounce of her strength, but she just couldn't hold it in. Caught off guard by his eldest granddaughter's betrayal, the old man's wrinkled face flushed bright red. His eyes shot out a sharp glare. He fiercely jotted down a grudge against these two wretched girls in his heart. Just wait for this old man's revenge. As for you, what bad intentions could a 1-4-year-old kid have? You were just thinking about it in your head. The truly sinister ones were your big sister and second sister. Big sister sneezed. She took the melon-eating king beside her and headed to the company. You felt that if you stayed too quiet, the atmosphere would get awkward. So you opened your mouth and curiously asked Big Sister, "What's your company like?" Hearing this, Big Sister replied nonchalantly, "It's just all right. Not that big. The income is decent. Anyway, if you look for a partner in the future, just make sure they have a company at least this size. The requirements aren't too strict." When you arrived at the ground floor of the company, you tilted your head back 180 degrees, almost snapping your neck, and still couldn't see the roof. Redefining not that big. Income is decent. Turns out Big Sister wants you to die alone. I really didn't see that coming. Big Sister happened to hear this exact line as she walked over. She raised an eyebrow, reached out, and patted your head. "What are you looking at? Hurry up and get inside." The top floor. The entire floor was the CEO's office area. Big Sister walked to her desk and sat down. "I have a video conference to attend. Go play on the side for a bit. I'll take you for a tour around the company when I'm done." You listened carefully for a moment, and after realizing you weren't interested, you shifted your attention back to Big Sister's serious working face. Her beautiful side profile. Big Sister is so pretty. Hearing the fanboy declaration beside her, Big Sister couldn't help but curl her lips. It wasn't that she hadn't heard praises from others before. Or rather, growing up, she had received so much praise, her ears were practically calloused. But who knew how much of it was genuine? You were different. You genuinely meant it from the bottom of your heart. But before she could even enjoy it for a few minutes, your worried voice echoed over again. Incredibly heavy. What a pity for such a gorgeous beauty. Her most trusted secretary has long been colluding with a rival company. She's about to be framed and sent to prison, and under the charge of financial crimes, no less. The other party spent years secretly cooking the company's books. What should I do? How can I subtly warn Big Sister? I haven't participated in any of the company's projects. If I suddenly bring it up, wouldn't it seem too suspicious? But if I don't do something soon, my big sister is really going to end up stepping on a sewing machine in prison. Big Sister's expression turned ice cold. Her iced Americano was slammed heavily onto the desk. You looked up in confusion. The finance department director, who had just come in to report, was also startled. "CEO, is there a problem? I just remembered I haven't audited the accounts in a long time. Get ready. Send me a copy of the financial ledgers from the past few years." The finance director had no idea what was going on, but he didn't dare say a word. He obediently went to arrange it. You blinked. Why did Big Sister suddenly think of auditing the accounts? Did this finance director say something while I was here that caught Big Sister's attention? There are a lot of ledgers from recent years, all sorts of cash flows. Organizing them will take until tomorrow at the earliest. In the meantime, Big Sister stood up and waved at you. "Let's go. I'll take you for a walk around the company," and casually stroll past her 3 secretaries to see exactly who was trying to screw her over. But just as the two of you reached the elevator to head down, you bumped into someone head-on. He was wearing a well-fitted blue suit. His eyes flickered back and forth between sharp wit and pure, unadulterated stupidity. He had that distinct vibe of a college student who had just entered society, pretending to be an adult but not quite pulling it off. Special Assistant Joe was here to deliver documents. He didn't expect to run into Big Sister just as she was leaving. He quickly stood up straight. "Hello, CEO Chen." Big Sister nodded. "As for the documents, just leave them on my desk." "Who is this? He looks kind of familiar." Hearing that familiar inner voice, Big Sister turned around and sure enough, saw you, staring intently at Special Assistant Joe. She frowned imperceptibly. Special Assistant Joe was an orphan sponsored by the Chen family since Grandpa's generation. Even after she took over the Chen group in college, she never stopped funding him. A few years ago, she even sent him abroad to study. It wasn't until he graduated last year that she brought him back to groom as her trusted aide. Could he be the one trying to frame her? Impossible. The timeline doesn't match. In just a short minute, countless conspiracy theories flashed through Big Sister's mind. But that didn't stop her from introducing him to you. "This is Joe Lee, my secretary. This is my little brother, Chen Fan." Joe Lee greeted you a bit nervously. "Hello, young master." You greeted him generously, making Joe Lee exclaim inwardly that you truly lived up to the title of a wealthy young master. However, what he didn't know was, after hearing his name, 10,000 alpacas were stampeding through your mind. Joe Lee, that future corporate elite, the one who remained fiercely loyal even after Big Sister got out of prison, the lackey who was willing to lay down his life and shed blood to help her get revenge. Why does he look like a scruffy little puppy right now? This transformation. Did you go to Korea for plastic surgery? Big Sister listened to this in a daze. Although she hadn't experienced going to prison, she could well imagine that if what her brother said actually happened, her situation after getting out would be incredibly difficult. And even under those circumstances, Special Assistant Joe was still willing to help her. But it's a pity Special Assistant Joe met a bad end. Big Sister developed a chronic illness in prison and died of sickness halfway through her revenge. Special Assistant Joe was all alone in the world anyway, so after a series of setbacks, he ultimately chose to slam on the gas pedal and cleanly sent the main culprit straight to heaven, perishing together with them. But looking at Special Assistant Joe's youthful, slightly goofy smile, Big Sister's eyes unconsciously softened. The Chen family will never mistreat anyone who knows how to repay a debt of gratitude. Oh my god, a roar echoed through the air. Thinking about it this way, Special Assistant Joe is basically holding Zhuge Liang's script. Big Sister's revenge was left unfinished, and he died before his time. He gave his all until his dying breath, devoted to the very end, a heart full of gratitude. Thankful for you. Big Sister felt a headache coming on. Is this little brother allergic to being touched? But one thing was certain. If this intel proved to be accurate, Special Assistant Joe would be a key target for grooming in the future. Big Sister softened her voice towards Special Assistant Joe. I'm going to take my brother to inspect the company. Come with us. Ah, yes ma'am. Special Assistant Joe was a bit flattered. Usually, this kind of task was handed to Secretary Shu. The group's business scope was vast. Big Sister specifically dragged you to the group's legal department to show you what true elites looked like. Then she dragged you to the apparel department to show you what true fashion was. Whenever the department heads came over, they had to bring along the best-looking guys in their departments. After walking all these laps, you felt like you weren't here for a tour, but to select a concubine. The afternoon itinerary finally came to an end. Just as you opened the office door, an exceptionally harmless-looking woman turned around. Seeing Big Sister, she immediately flashed a gentle smile and picked up a folder from the sofa nearby. She smiled. CEO Chen, you're back. The bidding proposal for the Jinshui Bay project has been drafted. It's just waiting for your final signature, and then we can start reserving the bidding funds. Big Sister took the document and was about to sign it. Don't do it, Big Sister. That bidding proposal is poisoned. After casually glancing over, you suddenly screamed in your mind. Just as you struck a dramatic Kang stop pose, ready to halt Big Sister's dangerous action, you saw her move even faster than you. Smack! She chucked the project proposal right out the window, and then swiftly ran to wash her hands. This action completely shocked everyone. You silently retracted your dramatic hand. Coming out of the restroom, Big Sister calmly pulled out a paper towel to dry her hands. I just saw a bug on it. I got scared. Reflex action. Hearing this, Secretary Shu silently breathed a sigh of relief. She smiled good-naturedly. So that's what it was. I'll go print another copy then. I'll have someone retrieve the one you threw away. Secretary Shu smiled warmly, subtly reminding the CEO, it's best to sign this as soon as possible. I see quite a few people are still eyeing the Jinshui Bay project, refusing to give up. Give me a break, you two-faced, backstabbing beast in human skin. You malicious spy from another company, deceiving my big sister's feelings. You corporate mole. That Jinshui Bay project is going to become a massive unfinished mess later on. Even the land itself will have issues. When the time comes and complaints erupt everywhere, you'll conveniently, accidentally leak the cookbooks and throw my big sister under the bus to take the fall, right? Big sister kept you close to her heart and you threw her straight into the gutter. Damn you to hell. In your memory, this Jinshui Bay incident was the beginning of the Chen family's downfall. Big sister looked at Secretary Shu in disbelief. She had suspected many people, but she never ever suspected Secretary Shu. The reason was, they were good friends who had known each other since high school. Knowing her poor background, she had been financially supporting her for years. After graduation, she even brought her directly into the Chen group. But who would have thought? Big sister's face turned grim. A surge of furious betrayal rose in her heart. Why on earth would she do this? The inner voice in her ear was even angrier than she was. Sigh. My poor big sister is still completely in the dark. This Secretary Shu approached big sister on purpose back then. She's actually the illegitimate daughter of the Shu Group's CEO. Back in the day, that scumbag cheated on his legitimate wife while she was pregnant and hooked up with his so-called true love. This Secretary Shu knew her status as an illegitimate daughter would never be accepted, so in order to openly seize power in the future, she deliberately got close to big sister. Speaking of which, Secretary Shu is Ji Bojin's developing CEO girlfriend. I wonder if those two have made up yet? Suddenly, hearing a familiar name, big sister's gaze hardened. That man is involved in this too. Your thoughts began to wander. They probably made up, right? Ji Bojin is quite a big help to Secretary Shu. Even if he got dumped by second sister, he still has dirt on Secretary Shu. In the past, Ji Bojin had second sister bring him to the company to hang out and even helped steal documents. Those two are basically grasshoppers tied to the same string, locked in a death match. Big sister sneered inwardly. I'll have Special Assistant Joe look into this later. Secretary Shu had no idea that in just this short amount of time, all her dirty secrets had been completely exposed. She held the freshly printed, still warm bidding proposal and flashed a smile that was welded to her face like a mask. CEO Chen, you can sign it now. Big sister glanced at it. No rush. She sat down at her desk and said slowly, but CEO Chen, a lot of people are fighting for this project, and I see a very bright future for it. What if, in just these few minutes, someone else beats us to it? Seeing Big Sister's somewhat cold and dismissive attitude, Secretary Zhu panicked. This was a plan she had been plotting for years. Everything was ready, just waiting to be set in motion. And now it was going wrong right at the start. She really couldn't understand. It was just the time it took to print a document. Big Sister was so ready to sign it just a moment ago. Why did she suddenly change her mind? Big Sister took the coffee handed to her by Special Assistant Joe, took a slow sip, and leisurely replied, "Beaten to it? That just means it was never meant to be ours. If it's yours, it will be yours. If it's not, don't force it." Secretary Shu put on a deeply worried face. "But I've already negotiated with the partners. We're supposed to submit the application this afternoon. This would be considered a breach of contract, and it wouldn't look good for the Chen Group's reputation." Big Sister set down her cup. "That's simple. Just tell the partners that while you were out on business, you found out your boyfriend was cheating, and you went to catch him in the act. You couldn't stop gloating in your mind. Was Big Sister a panda in her past life? She's so savage." Secretary Shu's mouth twitched. "Sister Chen, stop joking around. They're really in a hurry." Big Sister suddenly asked coldly, "Little Zhu, how many years have we known each other?" Secretary Shu was startled by this sudden question. Her eyes flickered slightly. "Almost 10 years, right?" "Yeah, almost 10 years." Big Sister faced the floor-to-ceiling window, seemingly lamenting that 10 years was enough time for so many things to change. Or maybe, I just never saw clearly to begin with. Secretary Shu's heart skipped a beat. What does she mean by that? She quietly observed her, but found her expression completely normal, radiating an aura of absolute control and strategy. Her voice was calm. "There's no rush on the project. I'll look over the Jinchai Bay bid later. I have some things to handle here. The bidding doesn't open until the day after tomorrow anyway, right? We have time." "Understood, CEO Chen." Secretary Shu's mind was a mess, but feeling incredibly guilty, she didn't dare push any further. Watching Secretary Shu's retreating back, Big Sister's gaze darkened. If Secretary Shu is really found to have issues tomorrow, if she really did something like cooking the books, then I absolutely won't let someone who deceived me for years off the hook. Of course, she wouldn't just send her to prison. She would make her life outside of prison a living hell. That night, in the study at the end of the third-floor hallway of the villa, Big Sister recounted to Grandpa what happened at the company today. Just now, the finance director rushed to produce last year's accounts. They indeed found a deficit of 10 million. According to the investigation, this matter might also be connected to the deputy director of finance. Grandpa's face looked exceptionally grim. He never expected the people around his eldest granddaughter to actually have problems. But a moment later, he couldn't help but feel relieved. Thank goodness he had the sudden whim today to have you go with Big Sister to the company to see the world. Otherwise, he couldn't even imagine the consequences. Would his old bones have been able to handle it? The old man couldn't help but sigh. "We really owe you this time." Just then, an intensely emotional inner voice echoed out, "Help." Big Sister and Grandpa's expressions changed simultaneously. "Knowledge is just like trouble. It all escapes from my brain. I don't want to try anymore. I should just sneak out of school tomorrow and find a random sugar mommy to keep me." Grandpa rubbed his temples, nursing a headache. This little guy, what is he thinking about all day long? Looking for a sugar mommy? Is the family's money not good enough for him? In a room on the same floor, you were agonizingly pulling your hair out. "I finished half my homework. As for the other half, I'll just wing it when I get back to school tomorrow." You pulled up the covers and slept incredibly peacefully that night. The next day, before the sun was even up, you had to head to school with a face full of resentment. Life is so dull and boring. Early mornings are a crime against humanity. You mindlessly stuffed a small bun into your mouth. Stop complaining. Grandpa shoved a glass of milk into your hand and anxiously reminded you, "Fifth sister goes to the same school as you. She's in class 3, grade 11. Her name is Chen Jiang. If you need anything, go find her." You ate your food with a blank expression, clearly empty-headed. Grandpa was glaring at you, fuming. "You little brat. You only told half the story. Spit out the rest." Unfortunately, before he could prompt you, the driver walked in. He was responsible for taking you to school. "Young master, are you ready? If we don't leave now, you'll be late for school." "I'm coming." The old man really wanted to strike an Urkang stop pose and drag you back to ask what exactly happened, but he suppressed his urge and could only watch helplessly as you ran off. The front door closed. The old man turned around and shouted at Big Sister, who had just come down for breakfast, "Contact old Fifth for me. Tell her that no matter where she goes today, she has to take Chen Fan with her." 30 minutes later, you arrive at a famous private elite high school. Most of the students here were either rich or noble. Every year, countless parents scrambled to send their kids here. If you actually managed to make friends with a powerful background who was willing to help you out, your future was basically set for success. Young master, should I walk you in? That badminton bag and backpack look awfully heavy. Thanks, uncle, but there's no need. You waved your hand and lifted the badminton bag, which let out a loud, metallic clanking sound. For a moment, both of you fell silent. The driver hesitated. Young master, is your racket broken? Do you need me to buy you a new one? No need, no need. Thanks, uncle, but I really don't need it. After saying that, you bolted straight into the school. When you reached the bottom of the stairs, you unzipped the badminton bag. That was close. I almost got caught. What was inside wasn't actually a racket, but a steel pipe. Based on your experience, once you were kicked out of the Lin family, the people who usually sucked up to you would probably turn their spears against you. And unsurprisingly, it was all instigated by Lin Yu. Plus, you just screwed him over all night yesterday, so he was definitely going to fan the flames even harder. Thinking about the filthy words written on your desk in the past and almost getting jumped with a sack over your head, a look of excited awakening flashed in your eyes. It's hunting time. Returning to your class, your original seat in the front row was, sure enough, already taken by another guy. You weren't angry. You walked straight to the back row, to the window seat next to the trash can, and found your desk. The word trash was written on it in red paint, glaringly obvious. But unexpectedly, there was actually a girl sitting in your seat. She was propping her face up with a book, arrogantly resting her feet on the desk. So they've changed their tricks? You raised an eyebrow, ignoring the eerily quiet atmosphere around you. After all, when these classmates watched a show, they were always this quiet. Seemingly noticing the noise, the girl slowly lowered the book from her face. Her voice was nonchalant. You're back? Before she could finish, a metallic glint flashed in the next second. A steel pipe was swung right at her face. The boy standing in front of her had a sharp gaze. Either you help me change desks today, or you're not leaving. Then, after getting a clear look at her, you almost broke character. Holy shit, isn't this fifth sister? Why is she so bored? She came looking for me. Fifth sister hadn't even recovered from the shock. Is this the little brother big sister mentioned on the phone? She said he was as fragile as a little lamb. Then who the hell is this in front of me? Before the question marks in her head could clear, that bizarre inner voice suddenly echoed in her mind again, overlapping with your voice. Fifth sister realized it instantly. Could she be the legendary woman chosen by the light, so she could accept it? Fifth sister tried her best to strike her most badass pose, deliberately lowering her voice. Little brother, nice to meet you. Aren't you going to say something to me? You opened your mouth, just about to speak, when the sound of a desk being knocked over came from the side. Holy crap. Sister Jiang, your brother is way too damn wild. The high school operated on a boarding system. Fifth sister was sleeping soundly in her dorm today when she suddenly got a call from big sister ordering her to go see you. This little brother she had never met. She even threatened to cut off her cards if she refused. So fifth sister was forced to bow down to the evils of capitalism. She originally planned to just go through the motions, but she didn't expect that as soon as she got to your class, she'd find the word trash written on your desk and hear a bunch of nasty rumors. Fifth sister was instantly furious. No matter what, people from the Chen family weren't for outsiders to bully at will. Fifth sister was already Ningda High School's notorious school bully. Plus, there were plenty of rumors that her family background was extraordinary. In short, she was someone you absolutely could not mess with. What's the deal with this desk? Whoever wrote this stepped forward. Fifth sister coldly swept her gaze across the classroom. Instantly, the classroom, which had been somewhat noisy upon her arrival, fell dead silent. All the students looked at her quietly, their eyes filled with doubt and confusion. They didn't understand why she was getting involved in your business. But fifth sister's next words left them in absolute shock. Chen Fan is my little brother. I'm covering for him. I hope you all weigh the consequences carefully from now on. As for the ones who did this, fifth sister paused and sneered. It doesn't matter if you don't confess. When Chen Fan gets here, I'll let him deal with you himself. As soon as she said this, the students who did it immediately felt guilty. On the other hand, the students who hadn't caused trouble were mostly just shocked. What's going on? Isn't he the fake young master who stole someone else's place and then went back to his poor biological parents? So why is his sister Chen Jiang now? This is completely different from what Lin Yu told us. Fifth sister ignored the undercurrents among them, kicked her feet up onto the desk, covered her face with a book, and went back to sleep. She could already imagine that when you got to school, you'd look at her with eyes full of worship and respect. And then she heard the following statement. Either you help me change desks today, or you're not leaving. This is not the script I imagined. Fifth sister barely managed to salvage her dignity. She shrank her neck. Little brother, nice to meet you. Aren't you going to say something to me? She felt so cool saying that, but as a result, she heard her useless teammate's idiotic comment from the side. Holy crap. Sister Jiang, your brother is way too damn wild. Realizing you had threatened the wrong person, you naturally pulled back the steel pipe, flashed an obedient smile, and offered the steel pipe flat in your hands to fifth sister. Hello, fifth sister. Nice to meet you. Please accept this steel pipe as a token of my respect. Fifth sister casually tossed the steel pipe to her useless teammate beside her. Whoever usually bullies you, point them out to me. If you put it that way, then I won't hold back. You strode forward, and with your first step, slapped your hand onto the shoulder of the guy sitting in front of your desk. Obviously, not everyone was Lin Yu. Jiang Man's acting skills were clearly subpar. Being patted, a clear look of guilt flashed in his eyes. Brother Fan, did you need something? You couldn't be bothered to play along with him. You cut straight to the chase. Did you write those 2 words on my desk? Jiang Man was a spineless opportunist who bullied the weak and feared the strong. To him, having no money or power was the original sin, making you a target to be bullied at will. On the contrary, the rich and powerful people in the class, he sucked up to every single one of them, including the old Chen Fan. If you always ignore this kind of person, they'll hold a grudge against you. So, the moment he heard you were down on your luck, he couldn't wait to step on you, to curry favor with Lin Yu. But I haven't even been here that long. Jiang Man denied it to the bitter end. You just haven't seen his two-faced nature yet. Even if you guys aren't friends, you shouldn't be enemies either. Maybe it's just suspicion right now, as long as he denies it to the bitter end. Do you think everyone here is an idiot? Fifth sister pointed at the security camera at the front of the classroom, her arms crossed. She cast an intensely oppressive glare at him. With a camera that big right there, do we need to pull up the footage for you? Hearing Fifth sister's words, Jiang Man's face turned pale. He was filled with endless regret, because he had heard earlier that you were a fake, with no money or background, and on top of that, you didn't have absolutely outstanding grades. He figured the principal and teachers wouldn't protect you, so they bullied you recklessly without any hesitation. They didn't even bother avoiding the cameras. Who would have thought the tables would turn like a sudden storm? Why go through all that trouble? I believe many of you sitting here also witnessed what happened, right? You wore an expression of innocent cruelty. Seeing this, the students immediately started pointing fingers and speaking up all at once. Yeah, I saw it all. First thing in the morning, Jiang Man was carrying a paint bucket, using a mop to write on the desk. As these accusations reached Jiang Man's ears, it's not like that. I didn't want to bully you in the first place. I was instigated by Feng Chen and Chu Wei. The two who were suddenly called out couldn't sit still either. What the hell are you talking about? When we first heard Chen Fan was a broke loser, weren't you the one most eager to get back at him? We've known each other for so many years. I had no idea about this. I didn't do anything. It was these two who came up with the plan. I was even thinking that when you arrived, I'd tip you off. Cut the bullshit. You didn't even have to do anything. The three of them were already at each other's throats, like rabid dogs. The homeroom teacher stood at the door, witnessing the whole scene. Caught in a dilemma, unable to advance or retreat, he silently tried to make himself invisible. The three of them, red-eyed with panic, were already brawling in a tangled mess. Fifth sister watched this scene with cold detachment. Then, she shifted her gaze to your perfectly calm face. This won't be too big of a blow to my little brother, right? Hope it doesn't leave him with any psychological trauma. Remembering eldest sister's order to keep this little sidekick with her all day. Fifth sister figured there wouldn't be any studying done today anyway, so she might as well just take him away. She first walked up to the homeroom teacher, completely ignoring the three guys brawling on the floor. Hands in her pockets, she said casually, "When they're done fighting, pass on a message for me. The Chen family group will remember this grudge. They'd better let their parents hear about it. I believe their parents' generation will naturally know what to do." Fifth sister took out her phone and sent eldest sister a brief text explaining the current situation. Then she continued speaking to the homeroom teacher. "As for the rest, I'm taking a leave of absence for Chen Fan. I'm taking him with me today." "Yes, of course." Naturally, the homeroom teacher didn't dare to object. You tugged at Fifth sister's sleeve and asked, "Fifth sister, am I supposed to pack my bags and go home now?" Hearing the word sister, Fifth sister, who was always at the very bottom of the family hierarchy, was so moved she almost teared up. But on the surface, she remained very composed. "No, eldest sister told you to follow me today. Call me that one more time." Seeing as she had just helped you out, you feigned ignorance. "Fifth sister, call you what?" "Nothing. The leave is approved, let's go." Fifth sister handed the completed leave slip to the teacher and strode ahead with her long legs. You followed closely behind. Long live Fifth sister. Sister Wu listened to the cheers behind her. On her usually unfazed face, the corners of her mouth couldn't help but turn up. Right, just like that. Thinking back to junior high, Sister Wu's childhood friend was trying hard to educate him on Sister Wu's glorious deeds. Speaking of which, the genes in your Chen family are seriously overpowered. Sister Wu sleeps in class every day, never does her homework, goofs off outside all day, and always stays up late playing games. But after just cramming for 3 or 4 days before the exams, she actually makes it into the top 3 of her grade. It's honestly infuriatingly jealous. You follow behind, nodding slightly in agreement. Sister Wu walked at the very front, but was forced to listen to that ridiculously active inner voice. Fake news. Sister Wu isn't staying up late playing games. She's secretly wearing headphones and listening to online classes. Sleeping in the morning is just to fool you guys while she catches up on sleep. As for not doing homework, in the corners you can't see, she's grinding through practice papers like she's playing Candy Crush. Those 3 days before the exam, that's just her finally being able to study hard out in the open. Arrogance is just her camouflage. Secretly grinding is her true ultimate move. Wang Kexin, seeing how intently you were listening, pitched it even harder. Not just her grades, her sports skills are insane too. Not only does she get perfect scores across the board, her stamina is absolutely terrifying. Wang Kexin couldn't help but show a look of pure admiration. Once, the school organized a hiking trip. Mount Tai, you know, we were pretty much done by the time we reached the ticket booth. But she actually climbed all the way to the summit. It was absolutely mind-blowing. Wow, that's amazing. And the very next day after coming back, she came to school like nothing happened. Then you definitely haven't seen Sister Wu after grinding for a whole day, whining and howling from exhaustion. Her whole body turns to jelly, and the only thing still tough is her mouth. Not only that, Sister Wu, walking in front, was burying her head in her phone. She was practically sweating. This little brother knows way too much. Unexpectedly, eldest sister, who is usually busy with a million things, seemed to know she would message today. The message she just sent got a reply almost instantly. From eldest sister, she learned that she wasn't the only chosen one by the light. This light shone a bit wide, covering her entire family. Eldest sister even told her to keep it a secret and reminded her to delete the chat history. As for asking why she had those inexplicable sources of information, the answer was that eldest sister didn't dare to say and didn't dare to ask. Eldest sister, just treat your little brother like a god descending to earth, here to save us mortals. Eldest sister, are you serious? Since when did you get so funny? Eldest sister, I'm not just funny. I'll also beat you up. Take good care of your little brother. I'll increase your allowance this month. If he suffers any grievances, you don't want to know what'll happen. Sister Wu, he's only been back for a single day, right? Are you sure the one who just returned to the family is the little brother, and not me? She felt eldest sister was just putting on airs, so she screenshotted the messages and sent them to Grandpa, wanting to complain about eldest sister's attitude. Grandpa read it and told her, your eldest sister is absolutely right. Remember to be gentle with your little brother. Don't set a bad example. Otherwise, Sister Wu only read 2 lines before expressionlessly closing WeChat. Even if she received countless sweet words, there was absolutely no way she would ever turn into what eldest sister and grandpa had become. Just then, a whistle came from not far away. Well, if it isn't Sister Jiang, I wonder if you're ready for tonight's race? The words were clearly polite, but couldn't hide the strong stench of mockery. Hearing this voice, Sister Wu and Wang Kexin's faces turned cold at the same time. Leading the group was a girl with dyed blonde hair. From the tips of her hair to her toes, she screamed the word rebellious. Chen Jiang, haven't seen you in a few days. Why are you slacking? Babysitting now? Who are you calling a babysitter? Sister Wu was so furious she was about to curse her out when she heard the voice of the great troll behind her. Yo, whose little golden retriever got let out of its cage? So arrogant. Is she relying on the Animal Protection Association to back her up? Poofed! Sister Wu almost burst out laughing. Ha ha ha. Her gaze shifted to Liu Ruin, and the blonde hair on her head really did look exactly like one. Liu Ruyan subconsciously touched her head, then her face darkened. Flustered and exasperated, she snapped. Who the hell are you? This is my little brother. Sister Wu stepped in front of you, warning Liu Ruin. You better show some respect. Liu Ruin didn't get along with Sister Wu, but she wasn't low enough to bully a kid. Besides, her AoE taunt just now was a bit too broad. She let out a cold snort, not dwelling on the matter any further. She just looked at Sister Wu with a sneer. You haven't forgotten our bet, have you? I hope when you lose, your mouth will still be as tough as it is now. Of course, I haven't forgotten. I'll return those exact words to you. Sister Wu didn't back down an inch. What's wrong? Hearing Wang Kexin's voice behind her, Sister Wu turned around in confusion, only to see you staring intently at Liu Ruin's retreating back. She froze for a moment, then thought of her rival's admittedly pretty face. Her pupils instantly quaked. Don't tell me my little brother has a crush on that blonde. She was just about to talk some trash about her, to completely ruin Liu Ruin's image, when she heard you curse in your head. Holy shit, that's actually Sister Liu when she was young? What is up with these women? Do they all go to Korea for plastic surgery when they hit 17? Or is it just puberty hitting like a truck? Although from what Sister Wu said, Sister Liu and her were always at each other's throats in school, the kind who had to trash talk every time they met. But I really didn't expect Sister Liu to have a phase where she acted so damn cocky and full of herself. You stared at the fading silhouette, shaking your head slightly. Oh, Sister Liu, as badass and explosive as you act toward my Sister Wu right now, that's exactly how pathetic you'll look in the future when you try every possible way to become her sugar mommy. It's going to be so embarrassing. But thinking about it from another angle, this script is actually pretty thrilling. Our family is going to go bankrupt in the future. Put together, the script for these two is, after my family goes bankrupt, my bitter rival becomes my sugar mommy. Sister Wu's pupil-quaking target had now shifted to herself. First, she was shocked that her family would actually go bankrupt in the future. Then, she was shocked again that her bitter rival would actually want to be her sugar mommy in the future. Impossible. That girl is as straight as an arrow. So why would she want to keep me as a sugar baby? What kind of ghost story is this? She was completely dazed. Why on earth would this happen? Sister Lu doing that? Actually, mainly because she heard the keyword Sister Wu. She immediately activated her homing missile mode, ears perked up. Hurry up and tell me. Tell me. Beside you, Wang Kexin let out a barely noticeable sigh, which immediately caught your attention. What's wrong? Is something the matter? You asked in confusion. Wang Kexin looked up at her best friend's back and said helplessly, I'm just a little worried. About Sister Wu. Sister Wu? Okay, I know you're worried now, but stop worrying for a second. I was literally just about to hear the reason. I'm dying of suspense here. However, the two people in the back couldn't comprehend the situation up front. Worried? You tilted your head in confusion. Then, connecting it to what just happened, you suddenly caught onto the main point. You asked curiously, speaking of which, what was that bet you guys were just talking about? This question made Wang Kexin look at Sister Wu hesitantly, unsure if she should tell the truth. It's nothing, just a motorcycle race. Sister Wu, on the other hand, didn't have as many reservations. She shrugged it off casually. Tonight at 8, over at Panshin Road, Lu Ruyan and I are having a fast and furious showdown. Whoever loses has to serve the other tea and water and be their lackey for a month. Serve tea and water at their beck and call? Isn't that exactly Sister Wu's future treatment? With just one word, Sister Lu would serve it up, completely willingly. And such a good deal too. But Panshan Road is pretty dangerous. Can't you guys race somewhere else? Sister Wu raised an eyebrow. Speaking of her favorite hobby, her whole demeanor lit up. She smiled, revealing her little canine teeth. You still don't trust my skills? Relax. Never mind Panshan Road. Even if it had 18 hairpin turns, I'd drift right through them. All right. Don't worry about it. After saying that, she turned her attention back to you. Are you going home tonight, or do you want to stay over at my villa? At your middle school, although the high school division requires boarding, you can actually commute as a day student. As long as it doesn't affect your grades, whether you board or not is up to you. And Sister Wu, in order to achieve her goal of secretly grinding and then shocking everyone with her results, bought a villa near the school. Not only is the villa fully furnished, making it convenient for her to move in any time, the garage is also filled with all her beloved motorcycles. You didn't know why, but this Panshin Road bet kept bothering you. You immediately said you wanted to go to the villa with her. Sister Wu had already asked for time off in advance. Hearing this, she had no objections and took you along. But the moment she opened the door, she regretted it, because she forgot that you were now admiring an entire wall covered in key English vocabulary words. Sticky notes everywhere. Sister Wu, you really are someone who loves to study. This is what they call open grinding is easy to spot, but secret grinding is hard to defend against. So you definitely have to be careful of everyone who loudly claims they're going to slack off in front of you, because they're probably just brainwashing you while secretly working their asses off where no one can see. If you take them seriously, you lose. Sister Wu's mind was filled with eldest sister and grandpa's various threats and bribes, telling her to set a good example. Yeah? You should also learn from my spirit of striving for success. By this time, you had your hands behind your back, strolling leisurely over to the calendar. This posture, commonly seen in Beijing parks in the morning, on old men walking their bird cages, made Sister Wu feel the urge to hand you a walking stick. She suppressed the impulse, her mouth twitching. Growing up, she hadn't had much experience interacting with boys. She figured since they were both students anyway, why not invite her little brother to do some practice papers together? The more she thought about it, the more perfect it seemed. An older sister patiently teaching her younger brother how to solve problems. What a harmonious and loving scene that would be. You stood in front of the calendar, your expression growing increasingly serious. Completely unaware of the impending disaster you were about to face, you took out your phone. Today is the 18th of November 2023. Hanshan Road. Sister Wu's bet. I remember now. It's today. Sister Wu is going to get severely injured because her motorcycle tire blows out. Her legs will be crippled. From then on, she'll only be able to walk short distances, and she'll never be able to do strenuous exercise again. She even ends up lying in the ICU for 2 days. Crippled legs? Just hearing this tragic outcome, Sister Wu took a step back in shock. Those few short sentences completely shattered her gentle mood, but that shouldn't be possible. Sister Wu immediately spotted the blind spot. Her motorcycles were all equipped with top-tier parts. Even if she drove over gravel, the tires wouldn't blow out unless someone threw nails on the road. But even then, it shouldn't happen. If someone really did that, she wouldn't be the only one getting into an accident. Besides, she checks her bike's parts before every ride. There's no way there would be a problem. Inside the tires of Sister Wu's motorcycle, someone planted a miniature detonator. Sister Wu's pupil shrunk. No one knew better than her the terrifying consequences of a tire detonating while riding at high speeds. She couldn't help but start forming conspiracy theories. Could it be that bastard Lu Ruin? But that doesn't make sense. That girl isn't nearly that sinister. You had no idea that the person behind you was going through an emotional roller coaster because of your thoughts. Wait, which old geezer planted it again? I can't quite remember. You rubbed your temples, your brain, CPU working so hard it was about to fry. I think it was some second-generation rich kid on the verge of bankruptcy. One of Sister Liu's shady friends, I guess. To save his own family, he secretly set up an underground betting pool behind Sister Wu and Sister Lu's backs and invited other rich kids and playboys to place bets. He acted as the bookie and bet all his family's remaining money on it. In order to ensure his desired outcome, he somehow got a hold of Sister Wu's address, sneaked into her garage, and swapped out the tires on her motorcycle. Sister Wu kept a smile on her face, but in reality, she was grinding her teeth so hard they were about to shatter. To think something like this actually happened, that son of a bitch is going to die a horrible death. This information was detailed enough. Just the charge of running an illegal gambling ring alone was enough to make that nameless bastard suffer big time. I have to call the cops. Sister Wu secretly plotted. Once the police arrested that guy, she was going to send Lu Ruyan a mocking text to show her what kind of trash she hung out with. Because of this incident, Sister Lu investigated the truth. After Sister Wu's accident, she felt incredibly guilty. Even after our family went bankrupt later on, she never abandoned her. She even offered to support Sister Wu financially. After all, she ended up like that, all because of the bet she initiated. If it weren't for this bet, maybe none of it would have happened. It's a pity that my Sister Wu, with her 100-pound body and 99 pounds of pure rebellion, refused no matter what. Kind of a shame, really. Sister Wu, This little brat is thinking about ridiculous things again. Sister Wu clicked her tongue in her mind. Considering that Liu Ruin girl actually has a conscience, I'll let her off the hook this time and skip the mockery. Thinking about it, she even admired herself. How can there be someone in this world as kind and forgiving as me? At this thought, a plan suddenly formed in your mind. You turned around and gave Sister Wu a bright smile. Sister Wu, can you take me to see your motorcycle garage? I've never seen a real motorcycle before. I want to see yours. You even added a pleading, please. I can't just tell Sister Wu about this directly. I'll just have to handle it myself. First, I'll figure out where Sister Wu's garage is. Then I'll trick her into telling me which bike she's going to use for the race tonight. And I'll casually ask about the tire model and stuff. Sister Wu looks like the type to let kids roam free anyway. After that, I can just make up an excuse and slip away. I'll go to the pharmacy and buy some strong sleeping pills, then buy the matching tires. At noon, I'll drug Sister Wu to sleep, and then I can change the tires for her. Having finalized the plan in your head, you were amazed by your own silent dedication. Excellent. My plan is absolutely perfect. The only problem is, I don't think I've ever fixed a motorcycle before. But that's okay. There's a first time for everything. I've fixed a bicycle before. The mechanics should be pretty much the same. Sister Wu, that is completely different, okay? Since Sister Wu didn't answer, she quickly replied, of course you can. But wait here for a second. She quickly ducked into a room, fiddled with her phone for a bit, and when she came out, she was carrying a large toolbox. Sister Wu smiled warmly. Do you want to see how a motorcycle is dismantled? Just for you? Sister Wu is willing to completely overhaul the entire bike. From the parts to the tires, I'll give you a full-scale demonstration. This unexpected joy came too suddenly. You suddenly realized your previous plan was completely scrapped. Won't that be too much trouble? Not at all. Sister Wu waved her phone. She smiled. I've already contacted the manufacturer to send over a brand new set of top-tier parts. I'll show you right away. Sister, your love is too heavy to bear. Don't tire yourself out. Just watch from the side. Sister Wu decided to just do it herself. Less than an hour later, the shiny new parts arrived. Sister Wu held the toolbox in her left hand and a new tire in her right. The two of you walked to the garage next to the villa. The garage's rolling door opened, revealing rows of awesome motorcycles. Red, green, blue, yellow, pink, black. Every style imaginable was there. Sister Wu stopped in front of a fiery red motorcycle and waved you over. Come here. This is the bike I'm taking out tonight. You walked over and took a look. The sleek body, the gorgeous lines. So cool. Of course it is. This is my proudest masterpiece. When Sister Wu talked about motorcycles, her whole demeanor lit up with excitement. Originally, she just wanted to give a rough overview of the structure. After all, her main goal was just to change the tires. But when she realized that you weren't secretly judging her in your head and were actually listening intently, she instantly got fired up. She pulled you along, eagerly introducing every single component. It wasn't until she finally got to changing the tires that the topic finally came to an end. She didn't deliberately hide anything from you. After directly changing to the new tires right in front of you, she set the old tires aside and used a small knife to slice open the inside. You didn't know much about motorcycles, so you just assumed it was standard procedure. The two of you suddenly became completely focused. When Sister Wu's gloved hand touched a round object inside the tire, her pupils shrank. Hearing about it was one thing, but when the inner voice was actually proven true, the shock was on a whole other level. At this moment, she thought of the future you had described, a future where her legs were crippled. She instantly felt as if she had plunged into an icy abyss.